Every day, more than 2 billion people warm up leftover food. Most believe that if a meal is heated thoroughly, it automatically becomes safe to eat. Unfortunately, that assumption can come with serious consequences. Here's one statistic you should remember. 1 out of every 6 cancer cases worldwide is now linked by researchers to dietary factors, including not only what we eat, but also how food is stored, reheated, and consumed. According to research published in a cancer journal for clinicians, unhealthy dietary habits rank as the second most significant preventable risk factor for cancer, surpassed only by tobacco use. Yet very few people ever discuss what actually happens to certain foods on a molecular level when they are reheated for a second time, whether in a microwave or on the stovetop. These chemical changes occur silently. You cannot see them, you cannot smell them, but they are taking place inside your food and eventually inside your body. My name is Dr. Richard Ben, and for more than 15 years I have studied nutritional biochemistry, along with the relationship between food science and cancer prevention. Today, I will show you 4 foods that you almost certainly reheat regularly, foods that are probably sitting in your refrigerator right now. Scientific research has documented that these foods undergo measurable chemical transformations during reheating, changes that may increase cancer risk. Stay with me until the end, because the 4th food on this list is one that nearly everyone considers completely safe. That belief, however, is surprisingly misleading. Before moving forward, it's important to understand something. This discussion is not about minor stomach discomfort or temporary food poisoning. We're talking about the slow accumulation of potentially harmful compounds inside the body over months and years, damage that often develops quietly until it becomes extremely difficult to reverse. Cancer almost never appears overnight. It develops gradually through a long biological process. Many of the building blocks involved in that process, including free radicals, advanced glycation end products, nitrosamines, and lipid oxidation byproducts, may enter the body not only through cigarette smoke or industrial pollution, but also through ordinary meals prepared in your own kitchen. The World Health Organization has classified several compounds produced during the reheating of certain foods as Group 1 or Group 2A carcinogens. A Group 1 carcinogen means there is clear evidence that it causes cancer in humans. A Group 2A carcinogen means it is probably carcinogenic to humans. These are not merely theoretical possibilities. They are scientifically documented chemical reactions that can occur on your stovetop or inside your microwave whenever certain foods are reheated incorrectly. Perhaps the most concerning part is that those at greatest risk are not people with unusual diets. They are ordinary individuals trying to eat healthy meals, people who regularly consume lean proteins, vegetables, rice, and eggs. These are exactly the 4 food categories we will examine today. After watching this video, you'll likely never think about leftovers the same way again. Before discussing the foods themselves, let me briefly explain why I am qualified to speak on this topic. Not to impress you, but because health misinformation is everywhere, and you deserve to know why this information is trustworthy. I completed medical training focused on internal medicine before pursuing advanced fellowship training in nutritional biochemistry. During the past 15 years, my research has concentrated on how cooking methods, food storage, heat exposure, and reheating alter the molecular structure of nutrients and create byproducts capable of interacting with human DNA and cellular metabolism. To prepare this presentation, I reviewed hundreds of peer-reviewed scientific publications. Every statement you hear today is supported by research published in respected journals, including Food Chemistry, Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry, Carcinogenesis, and The Lancet Oncology. I will explain these scientific concepts in simple language because the science is real, the evidence is strong, and everyone deserves to understand it. I am not here to sell supplements. I am not here to convince you to buy a course. My goal is simply to share knowledge because preventive medicine always begins with information, and what you're about to learn could genuinely help protect both you and your family. Before examining the individual foods, we first need to understand a few basic principles of food chemistry. Please don't skip this part because it explains everything that follows. When food is cooked for the first time, heat causes predictable chemical reactions. Proteins unfold, starches gelatinize, fats emulsify. These are all normal processes. However, once food has already been cooked, stored in the refrigerator, and then heated again, an entirely different group of chemical reactions begins. The first is oxidation. During storage, fats and proteins exposed to oxygen gradually become unstable. When heat is applied again, these damaged molecules break down further into compounds such as lipid peroxides and malondialdehyde, substances known to damage DNA. The second process involves the Maillard reaction. Normally, this reaction creates the delicious flavor and golden brown appearance of cooked food. But repeated exposure to high temperatures causes proteins and sugars to generate advanced glycation end products, commonly called AGEs. These compounds contribute to chronic inflammation, one of the major biological conditions associated with cancer development. The third mechanism is nitrite conversion. Certain foods naturally contain nitrates. During refrigeration, bacteria convert these nitrates into nitrites. When reheated, those nitrites may transform into nitrosamines, compounds classified by the World Health Organization as confirmed or probable carcinogens. Remember these three mechanisms: oxidation, advanced glycation, nitrosamine formation. You will see one or more of these processes involved with each food discussed. Now let's begin with food number 1, cooked rice. Rice is the most widely consumed staple food on Earth. More than 3 billion people depend on it as their primary source of calories. Every day, billions of those people also reheat leftover rice. It has become a normal habit across nearly every culture. However, there is a significant problem. Interestingly, the biggest issue isn't actually the reheating itself. The real concern begins during the time rice spends sitting in the refrigerator after its first cooking. As cooked rice cools, it becomes an excellent environment for the growth of a bacterium called Bacillus cereus. This bacterium is not rare. It naturally exists in raw rice. It survives the original cooking process and can multiply rapidly when cooked rice is stored improperly. Reheating may kill the bacteria themselves, but it does not destroy the heat-resistant toxins they have already produced. Those toxins survive both microwaves and stovetops before entering your digestive system. While food poisoning is certainly one concern, researchers are also investigating another issue. Bacillus cereus produces a toxin called cereulide, which laboratory studies suggest can damage mitochondria inside human cells. Mitochondrial dysfunction is recognized as one of the earliest biological changes that may contribute to cancer development. There is another concern as well. Repeated heating of starchy foods increases the formation of acrylamide, a chemical produced when natural sugars react with the amino acid asparagine under high heat. The International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC, classifies acrylamide as a group 2A probable carcinogen. So what should you do? Whenever possible, cook rice fresh. If you need to store leftovers, spread the rice on a shallow tray so it cools quickly. Place it in the refrigerator within 1 hour. Eat it within 24 hours. And never reheat rice more than once. Now let's move on to food number 2, cooked chicken. Here's something that may surprise you. Chicken is the most popular lean protein in the world. Doctors recommend it. Dietitians recommend it. Bodybuilders build entire meal plans around it. Health-conscious families often prepare several meals using cooked chicken every week. And whenever leftover chicken ends up in the refrigerator, most people simply reheat it. That is where the problem begins. When proteins, especially those found in animal muscle, are exposed to high temperatures for a second time, they undergo a process called protein oxidation. One result of this process is the formation of compounds known as heterocyclic amines, or HCAs. HCAs are not controversial within nutrition science. In fact, they are among the most thoroughly studied dietary carcinogens in scientific literature. Once HCAs enter the body, liver enzymes convert them into highly reactive compounds capable of binding directly to DNA. This interaction can produce genetic mutations. When these mutations affect important genes, particularly tumor suppressor genes, they may begin the process that eventually leads to cancer. A landmark study published in Carcinogenesis reported that individuals who regularly consumed well-done or reheated poultry experienced a statistically significant increase in the risk of colorectal cancer. Another analysis conducted by the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health found that frequent consumption of reheated processed chicken was associated with a higher risk of pancreatic cancer, one of the deadliest forms of cancer, with a 5-year survival rate of only about 11%. Foods number 3 and 4 are the ones that most people misunderstand. Food number 3 mainly affects people who work hard to maintain a clean and healthy diet. Food number 4 is recommended by nutritionists and physicians every day, yet very few people understand what reheating can do to it. If you enjoy practical, evidence-based health information like this, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Every week, I publish a new video built on the same principle, translating peer-reviewed scientific research into useful advice that you can apply in everyday life. No hype, no supplements, no hidden agenda, just science and what it means for your health. Now let's discuss food number 3, spinach and other nitrate-rich leafy greens. Spinach is one of the most highly praised vegetables in healthy eating. It provides iron, folate, magnesium, and powerful antioxidants. Nutritionists, oncologists, and cardiologists consistently encourage people to eat more spinach. And they are absolutely correct when spinach is eaten fresh or cooked once and consumed immediately. The concern begins only after spinach has been cooked, stored, and later reheated. Spinach, along with celery, beets, lettuce, and Swiss chard, contains naturally high amounts of nitrates. In their natural state, nitrates are actually beneficial. They help support cardiovascular health and contribute to healthy blood pressure regulation. However, once cooked spinach is placed in the refrigerator, naturally occurring bacteria on the leaves begin converting those nitrates into nitrites. This is the same chemical conversion that occurs in cured meats. It is also one of the reasons the World Health Organization classified processed meat as a Group 1 carcinogen in 2015. When refrigerated spinach is reheated after sitting for 24 hours or longer, heat is applied to a vegetable that has already undergone substantial nitrate to nitrite conversion. Under these conditions, the nitrites can react with amino acids present in the spinach and later inside your stomach to produce nitrosamines. Nitrosamines are among the most powerful dietary carcinogens identified by modern science. Animal studies have demonstrated that they can trigger cancer at remarkably low doses. In addition, epidemiological studies consistently associate higher nitrosamine exposure with increased risks of gastric, esophageal, and colorectal cancers. This is not a hypothetical concern created for this video. The European Food Safety Authority, EFSA, has issued formal guidance regarding dietary exposure to nitrates and nitrites from vegetables, specifically warning about the possible risks associated with reheating nitrate-rich vegetables after they have been stored following cooking. The irony is difficult to ignore. One of the healthiest foods available can become a source of potentially carcinogenic compounds simply because of a common habit practiced every week by millions of health-conscious people. So what should you do instead? Whenever possible, cook spinach and other leafy greens fresh. Eat them immediately after cooking. If you have leftovers, consume them cold within a few hours. Avoid refrigerating cooked spinach with the intention of reheating it later. If storage is absolutely necessary, keep it in an airtight container, consume it within 6 hours, and eat it cold instead of reheating it. Now we come to food number 4. The one I mentioned earlier would probably surprise you the most. Here it is: eggs. Eggs are among the most nutritionally complete foods available. They contain all 9 essential amino acids. They are an excellent source of choline, an essential nutrient that supports healthy brain function. They also provide significant amounts of selenium, a mineral that plays an important role in antioxidant defense. In addition, eggs contain lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 powerful antioxidants that help protect both eye health and overall cellular health. By almost every nutritional standard, eggs are considered one of the healthiest foods you can eat. However, reheating eggs, particularly scrambled eggs or hard-boiled eggs, creates a specific chemical issue that very few people discuss. Eggs contain approximately 13% fat, with most of that fat concentrated in the yolk. When an egg is cooked for the first time, the fats inside the yolk begin an initial stage of oxidation. That process is normal and expected. The problem arises when a cooked egg is refrigerated and then reheated at high temperatures. Those already oxidized fats undergo a second stage of lipid oxidation much more rapidly. This process produces compounds such as malondialdehyde and oxysterols, both of which are well documented in scientific literature. Oxysterols in particular have attracted significant scientific attention over the past decade. These compounds are oxidized forms of cholesterol that develop when cholesterol-containing foods are repeatedly heated. A comprehensive review published in the journal Food and Chemical Toxicology concluded that oxysterols possess pro-atherogenic, pro-inflammatory, cytotoxic, and most importantly, genotoxic effects on human cells. That word, genotoxic, is extremely important. It means toxic to the genetic material inside your cells, your DNA. By definition, genotoxic compounds are considered potential carcinogens because they can produce DNA strand breaks and genetic mutations that may initiate the chain of biological events leading to cancer. There is another concern associated with reheated eggs. When cooked egg proteins are exposed to excessive heat for a second time, especially during rapid microwave reheating, they undergo additional protein denaturation. These altered proteins develop abnormal crosslinks that make them more difficult for your digestive system to break down. Even more importantly, some research suggests that the sulfur-containing amino acids naturally found in eggs, cysteine and methionine, can degrade during repeated heating. The degradation products formed from these amino acids may contribute to oxidative stress within the lining of the digestive tract. Oxidative stress affecting the intestinal lining is not a minor issue. Persistent oxidative stress in the gastrointestinal mucosa is considered one of the proposed mechanisms involved in the development of colorectal cancer, the third most common cancer worldwide, and responsible for nearly 1 million deaths each year. So what should you do instead? Eggs are best eaten immediately after cooking. If you prepare eggs ahead of time, store hard-boiled eggs with their shells still on and eat them cold. Avoid reheating scrambled eggs or omelets in the microwave. If you absolutely need to warm an egg-based dish, use gentle indirect heat, such as a warm water bath or a very low-temperature oven. Never heat egg dishes above 165 degrees Fahrenheit, 74 degrees Celsius. I want to be completely honest with you about something. When I first began reviewing the scientific research on reheated foods, carefully reading studies on nitrosamine formation, heterocyclic amines, and oxysterols, my first reaction was not fear. It was frustration. Frustration because this information is not hidden. It has been published in peer-reviewed scientific journals. It appears in official guidance issued by the European Food Safety Authority, the World Health Organization, and many other public health organizations around the world. Yet somehow, it almost never reaches the dinner table. It is rarely communicated in a way that is simple, practical, and easy for everyday people to understand and apply. Every day, billions of people make decisions about reheating food, not because they are careless, but because they have simply never been given this information. Children eat reheated rice, spinach, and eggs in school lunches 5 days a week. Older adults with weakened immune systems often reheat leftover chicken simply because they live alone and convenience matters. Fitness enthusiasts consume reheated, high-protein meal prep containers every day, believing they are maximizing their health, completely unaware that the chemical composition of those meals has changed significantly since they were first prepared. None of these people are doing anything wrong. They simply do not know. Now you do. That is the purpose of this channel. Not to make you afraid of food, but to provide practical, evidence-based knowledge that helps you make smarter and healthier decisions. The goal is to close the gap between what modern science has already discovered and what the general public actually knows. So let's bring everything together. 4 foods, 4 different biological mechanisms, 1 clear conclusion. Food matters. Food number 1, rice. Reheating cooked rice can reactivate heat-stable bacterial toxins produced by Bacillus cereus while also increasing the formation of acrylamide through repeated heating. Mechanism: bacterial toxin activity and acrylamide formation. Potential cancer connection: mitochondrial dysfunction and exposure to a group 2A probable carcinogen. Food number 2, chicken. Reheating cooked chicken at high temperatures promotes the formation of heterocyclic amines through protein oxidation, while also increasing lipid oxidation byproducts such as malondialdehyde and 4-hydroxynonenal. Mechanism: protein oxidation and lipid oxidation. Potential cancer connection: DNA damage and increased risks associated with colorectal and pancreatic cancers. Food number 3, spinach and other leafy greens. During refrigeration, naturally occurring nitrates are converted into nitrites. When reheated, those nitrites can form nitrosamines. Mechanism: nitrate to nitrite to nitrosamine conversion. Potential cancer connection: increased exposure to nitrosamines associated with gastric, esophageal, and colorectal cancers. Food number 4, eggs. Repeated heating of egg yolks promotes the formation of oxysterols and additional lipid oxidation products. Mechanism: cholesterol oxidation and secondary lipid oxidation. Potential cancer connection: DNA damage, oxidative stress in the intestinal lining, and an increased risk of colorectal cancer. 3 major biochemical mechanisms appear repeatedly throughout these 4 commonly reheated foods. Nitrosamine formation, lipid and protein oxidation, activation of bacterial toxins. This is not fear-mongering. It is food biochemistry that has been consistently investigated and documented throughout the scientific literature. Now let me tell you exactly what I want you to do with this information. These are simple, practical steps that require no expensive equipment, no supplements, and no dramatic lifestyle changes. Just a few informed decisions that can significantly reduce your long-term exposure to potentially harmful dietary compounds. Whenever possible, cook rice fresh. If you need to store it, allow it to cool within 1 hour, refrigerate it immediately, consume it within 24 hours, and never reheat it more than once. Whenever possible, eat leftover cooked chicken cold in salads or wraps. If reheating is necessary, use the lowest effective temperature and avoid overheating beyond the recommended safe internal temperature. Do not reheat cooked spinach, Swiss chard, beet greens, or celery. Instead, eat them cold or prepare them fresh. Store cooked leafy greens for no longer than 6 hours before consuming them cold. Cook eggs fresh whenever possible. If you prepare hard-boiled eggs ahead of time, store them with the shell still on and eat them cold. Avoid microwaving scrambled eggs or any other egg-based dishes. Consider investing in a food thermometer. Gentle reheating below 165 degrees Fahrenheit, 74.4 degrees Celsius, can significantly reduce the formation of many of the compounds discussed in this video, compared with high-temperature cooking methods. Avoid reheating any food more than once. 1 cooking and 1 reheating should be the maximum. After that, discard the leftovers. Whenever possible, use a low-temperature oven instead of a microwave when reheating protein-rich foods. Microwave ovens can create uneven hotspots that may accelerate oxidation reactions. Plan your meals carefully so you produce fewer leftovers in the first place. That may be the single most effective habit you can adopt. Before I finish, I want to ask you something, and I genuinely want to hear your answer. Which of these 4 foods surprised you the most? Was it rice, the food that almost everyone reheats without thinking twice? Was it chicken, the lean protein that millions of people consider the gold standard of healthy eating? Was it spinach, the vegetable that nearly every health expert encourages you to eat more often? Or was it eggs? Let me know in the comments below. And if there is another food you would like me to investigate in a future video, something you eat regularly or frequently reheat, leave that in the comments as well. I read every single comment. Your questions help guide the research behind future videos on this channel. Before we finish, there is one final message I want to leave with you. Think about someone in your life who reheats leftovers without giving it much thought. Maybe it is a parent, a brother or sister, a college student living on meal-prepped chicken and rice, a spouse who reheats leftover spinach throughout the week, or someone who microwaves scrambled eggs every morning after preparing a large batch on Sunday. They do not know what you know now, and you can change that in less than 10 seconds simply by sharing this video with them. Not to frighten them, not to lecture them, simply to give them the same information you now have, because they deserve the opportunity to make informed decisions about their health just as much as you do. The research is real, the potential risks are real, and the solutions are remarkably simple. Share this video because preventing cancer is not only a personal responsibility, it is also something we can help one another achieve. As always, I want to finish with one important clarification. Everything presented in this video is intended for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended to provide personal medical advice, a medical diagnosis, or treatment recommendations. The scientific evidence discussed throughout this presentation reflects findings published in peer-reviewed medical and scientific literature available at the time this video was created. Food science continues to evolve rapidly, and recommendations may change as new, high-quality evidence becomes available. I strongly encourage you to consult your physician, registered dietitian, or another qualified healthcare professional before making significant changes to your diet, especially if you have an existing medical condition. The mission of this channel has always been to translate complex scientific research into clear, practical, evidence-based information. Not to replace your doctor, not to create unnecessary fear, but to ensure that the same scientific evidence available to researchers and public health professionals is also available to you. Because you deserve nothing less than complete, accurate, and evidence-based information about your own health. Thank you for watching. I'm Dr. Richard Ben.